Here's the first part of section 6.3. We're going to multiply fractions. Okay, using symbols, we know that 3/5 times 2/3, there's a procedure that you learned which simply said, let's multiply straight across the numerator and the denominator as well, and I'm getting some glare there, sorry. So you just multiplied straight across, no one told you why. Well, today we're going to learn the why, and that's what you're responsible for in this type of class. So the book introduces this by doing 3 times 3/4. And this is set up nicely to just do repeated addition, 3 groups of 3/4. Add them together, 9/4, as the mixed number is 2 1/4. But what about 3/4 of 3? If we kind of commute that, this word of, it really means to partition, and I'm going to do a number line model first. I'm really having issues with my glare, sorry. Maybe not so bad. Okay. So 3/4 of 3. So we're going to partition 3 into quarters, kind of. Partition, I got to learn to spell that correctly. So I'm going to draw a number line. Out to 3, and I'll just break it in the quarters. So one way to look at it, we can look at the first unit here between 0 and 1 and go, okay, here's 3/4 of this piece. Do it here, and I got another 3/4. Do it once here. And another 3/4. So now I can see that I'm missing these. I don't have those. So if I redraw this thing, notice how many of these little partitions I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if I redraw my kind of the same diagram, same number line. I know that I've just used up 9 of these. So here's 4 of them. Here's 4 more. And then 1 more. Again, I have 8, I have 9/4, and look, I ended up at 2 1/4. Okay, I'm going to do another model. I'm going to do rectangles. Because there's all sorts of different representations to do this. And again, I'm looking at 3/4 of 3. So I'm going to partition each of these into quarters, just like I did the number line. And now I'm going to break these into fourths. Let's see, I have 12 of these pieces. And I want partitions, I want 4 equal pieces from these 12. So I want to separate these 12 into 4. So in my mind I'm doing 12 divided by 4 is 3 pieces. So right here, that's 1/4 of 3. I can do this. That's 1/4 of 3. And I can do this once more. That's another 1/4 of 3. And if you look at this, I've got 1 hole, 2 holes, and 1 more quarter, which again is 2 1/4. Well, I'm going to finish this video with a model that again demonstrates the word of meaning multiplication, and it kind of ties it all together. And it's the explanation that I want you to learn to be able to figure out in your own words how to explain it to me or someone else. I want to do our 3/5 of 2/3. And in this class you don't get to just multiply, you don't get to just do this and say, oh, it's 6/15, or even reduce it to 2/5. That's not what this class is about. This class is now, we're going to take our whole, I'm going to divide it into thirds, because I want this. There's my 2/3. Now I'm going to go this way and partition in the fifths. And here's my 3/5. So when I look at 3/5 of 2/3, well, here's 3/5. Well, I stop here. It's this little box right here. So I go, oh, I've got 6 of these things. There's my 6 parts. Notice they're same size pieces of what's in the whole, and in the whole I have 15 pieces. Let me see, 15 total. So that means 3/5 of 2/3 is 6 of the 15. Now, the of means this picture. I'm taking 3/5 of 2/3. It gives me this much of my whole. So here's where the multiplication comes in, and this is why you've always used the word of to mean multiply, is because when I do this, look what the 3 times 2 gives me. Multiplying straight across. That gives me the number of parts. And then multiplying straight across the denominator gives me the total in the whole. And that's why you multiply straight across, because multiplying by the numerator gives me this piece, multiplying the denominator gives me the whole. So when you're explaining this to someone, you have to end up with a 6/15 because it matches the diagram. You can't do something like this and say, oh, I've got this diagram, and then say it equals 2/5. Because there's no way to see that. You've got 6/15. All this reduction comes later once the student understands exactly why they're multiplying. We'll do more of this in office hour.